Today, I'm honored to introduce you to Jefferson Fisher. Jefferson is a husband, father, and a board-certified trial attorney with over a decade of experience. In recent years, Jefferson has helped millions of people by teaching them how to speak, listen, and communicate more effectively so you can get what you want without having to argue so much. He's authored a New York Times best-selling book called The Next Conversation. He's founded the Jefferson Fisher School of Communication, and he still shows up in court to cross-examine witnesses and convince juries. Jefferson, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, Jordan? Thanks so much for having me, man. Thanks for coming down,
Dude,
to my part of Texas.
Beaumont, Texas is great. I love it here. I had no idea they had this kind of a podcast studio, so I feel out of my element, but also it's just wonderful to be here and to see you again.
It's great to see you too, man.
So let's just start off with a very simple question. Who are you?
Oh. I am a husband. I am a dad. I am a trial attorney. I am someone of faith and a Christian. I am someone that is still learning a lot every day. So I'm a student, probably the best way to put that. And it is something that I continue to strive for, is learning everything that I can. So I'm somebody who's trying to actively, daily seek wisdom.
Are you studying anything specific right now? Anything in particular you're looking to seek wisdom on?
Well, I have two different devotionals that I do.
Yeah.
And then this morning's one is all in story of 1 Samuel through Saul and David. So there's a lot of good nuggets in there.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
What misconceptions do you think people on social media might have about you?
That it all comes easy. That communication just comes easy.
Do you struggle with it?
No, it's not that I don't struggle, and it's not that it's easy. It's just I'm just as normal as anybody else. You know, I'm a husband, so yeah, my wife and I have arguments. I am somebody who's made a lot of mistakes, and I'm somebody who has struggles and has grief, and somebody who they might think has it all figured out, maybe, or maybe they think that the social media side that they see is really easy. They just see snapshots.
Yeah,
you know, they don't see the early Saturday mornings with the kids jumping all on you, and you're just scrambling to get to soccer.
I love that. Have you ever gotten any messages from people that seem combative in response to you, or you make it seem way too easy? It's not as simple as that, or people ever come at you, or not so much?
No. Yeah, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I personally have seen a troll or some really negative comment.
That's amazing.
I just don't see it on my platform. It's probably because I don't really talk about controversial stuff. Mm-hmm. My stuff is meant to help. Mm-hmm. And the people that might message, even if they say you make it sound easy, they do it in a lighthearted way. It's not in some pointed, accusatory way.
What's something you used to believe but you no longer do?
I used to believe that I couldn't make mistakes. And now I have a different belief system of knowing that it is absolutely those mistakes that you sometimes have to make. You can't teach a kid what hot means unless they feel it. You can't teach a kid what pain is and what healing is unless they go through it. And the same for us. I mean, we're just big kids. And the mistakes are what mold you and what make you. There are people, myself included, who used to believe that lies can protect you. And that's just not true. And it takes a lot of growth and a lot of experience to find out where your North Compass is. And so I used to believe I could make mistakes. Now I openly embrace them.
Are there any mistakes that stand out as oh, that was a mistake that changed your trajectory, changed your way of thinking?
There are, of course, personal mistakes. There are mistakes you can make in marriage as a father, mistakes you can make at work, mistakes you can make in this, I don't know what we call the social world. One of my earliest mistakes was when I first thought, when I started making content, it had to look like other people. Had to look like they have it. And so it's real easy to start comparing yourself to, oh, well, they have a nice mic. I need to have a nice mic. Oh, they have a nice studio. I need to have a nice studio. And it's this comparison game. And that phrase that comparison is the thief of joy is so true. And what I learned is that the differences that you set yourself apart with are the exact thing that make people gravitate towards you. If you are caught up in somebody else's solar system, you're never going to be able to have your own orbit of something that you want to grow. And it's like people who sometimes will make videos of verbatim my content.
Oh, do they steal it?
Yeah. But you know what? It's okay, because it's just content. It's not the end of the world. And what I've seen is I might say to that person, hey, I'm glad that video did well for you. That's awesome. If you do your own thing, it'll make it even better. Because I've been there. And so and I've seen that when they go, thank you so much, and they actually start leaning into what makes them unique, what makes them special, instead of trying to be or imitate or emulate somebody else. I think that's the key. But that was a big mistake that I made early on, was feeling like I was trying to do things to promote myself rather than promote others, help myself, sell things to help myself, rather than turn that into how can I create value to help other people.
So I have a whole section, I call it the "you said" section. I've taken a bunch of quotes from you. I don't want to get some just deeper nuance and insight into it.
Yeah.
So, and for context, my mom, she was an attorney.
Oh, cool.
And so I grew up with that. So I'm always interested in other lawyers and thoughts. You had said you don't win the case in the opening. You lose it if the jury stops listening. I'm wondering, how do you keep the jury listening and make sure they don't lose interest?
There's a thing in trial litigation most people don't know about, and it's that at the end of the trial, the jury is given a document. It's called the jury instructions, and it is a list of questions that the jury ultimately has to answer.
Okay.
Meaning it could say, who is liable? Yes or no? Who is more responsible? A percentage of liability, maybe it's an amount of money, some determination that the jury is ultimately having to make. And they go back, 12 of them, and they talk amongst themselves, and they fill it all out, and then come out and read it.
Do they individually or just as a group?
As a group. They have there's a jury foreman.
Okay.
And it's one person, man, woman, doesn't matter, who they elect, the 12 of them elect to be, you're the leader. So you're the person to make sure we all run on time, because sometimes it may take days, weeks for a jury to come to a verdict. And that leader is the one who's going to read it to the judge, read it to the whole courtroom. They're the person that might give it to the judge for the judge to read it. And it just depends on the court, but that person's the leader. And it's that document that controls everything. In other words, it doesn't matter anything that happened in the trial. What matters is that document, because that's what gets signed, and that's what creates the judgment itself. So your bad attorneys will look at what fact is the most sensational and talk about that in the opening. Your good attorneys say, no, let me start backwards, and I'm going to start preparing my case with the instructions. So they start with the ultimate goal of what the jury's going to be asked, because it is so common that attorneys will try and use these facts to paint the other side bad, but it usually backfires because
Really?
it ultimately doesn't matter when it comes to the instructions. Yeah, the jurors have a way of going, they're just trying to poke their eye. They're just trying to paint them in a bad light, and they'll actually punish you for it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they're aware of that.
They can sense it. Like, jurors have a sixth sense. It's incredible. They're watching everything. And so, yeah, you can win a case by how you start preparing on the jury instructions. The ones that wait for the jury instructions at the very end, almost every time, they're the ones that are going to lose, because they're the ones that don't really know the goal of why are they bringing up this evidence, where are they wanting to go, what's the point? Because the jury is going to be, after lunch, after them eating Mexican food, they're ready to, it's hard to concentrate, and you're on day 9 of trial, and they're having to go, okay, what witness is this? Is this Dr. So-and-so? And you can easily win your case when you focus on the goal, the end, rather than trying to do it the reverse.
Are you watching the jury's body language to see, are they losing interest? Are they tired? Like, is there anything that you'll do to get them back into what you're trying to say, to get the message across more clearly?
Yeah, you're always watching if the jury goes, if somebody rolls their eyes, you go, oh, you've lost that person, or they didn't like that. When you're talking to a witness, let's say you're my witness on the stand, I'm going to be focused on you rather than trying to look at the 12 people who are watching us, and the judge and the bailiff and the court reporter who are watching us. But if my opposing attorney is asking you questions, I'm going to be watching you, and I'm going to be watching the jury and seeing what the jury is, how they are reacting. Now, let's say the jury's kind of getting lulled, it's dull, it's a lot of important evidence, but nothing that's really exciting. Then it's on you to be entertaining in a way. And so I've done it before where I had like a big book open, and the other side was asking questions, and it was starting to get boring a little. You could just tell the room was kind of quiet. And so I remember slamming my book when it was my turn. And I was like, you ready? Like, something to like make everybody kind of jump for a second. Oh, okay, we got to pick up. But you have to do it in like a nice way. I've also done it before where I'll have like a stack of books, and I'll slam it down on the table, and I'll start walking. I go, don't worry, we're not talking about that. You know what I mean? Like, making them, you have to have some type of interplay, body movement for the jury to keep their attention on you.
And are you involved in the jury selection? Are you involved in the process of, I want this person, I don't want that person? Is that you?
Yeah, that's all you.
So is there something you're looking for, or things that you're looking for when you're interviewing people, when you're talking to people who could potentially be on the jury, in terms of their mindset, their communication skills? Like, how do you go through that process?
So both sides, both attorneys, you get a document before trial, usually that morning, and it's a sheet of everybody's name. See, when people come in as prospective jurors, let's say you get a pink slip and they say you want to serve on a jury, and you go, you have to fill out a little questionnaire. What's your occupation? How old are you? How many kids you have? Like a very basic set of information. Well, the court takes all of that, copies it, and gives you a copy. So they will arrange everybody by number in rows. It depends on the court. You might have 50 rows, or you might just have 4 rows. Now, mind you, only 12 people get picked. Well, in Texas, it's different. So different states have a different number of strikes. So let's say you have 6 strikes and I have 6 strikes, meaning for any reason whatsoever, we can strike somebody off the jury that we don't like. Well, it can't be discriminatory. You can't, there are rules.
But you could decide, I don't want that person.
Exactly. And I could just do it for really no reason. I could say they didn't talk. They gave me a weird vibe. But you're watching. So you're watching if somebody is arms crossed, looking like this is looking at their clock, tapping their leg like this is a waste of time. I'm ready to get back to work. I don't want to be here. You don't want somebody on the jury who doesn't want to be there. He'll punish you for it because they're exasperated. They don't want to be there. You have other people who are very much desperate to be on a jury. Right? Very, very, very desperate to be. Oh, I would love to be on a jury. I've always wanted to be on a jury. They're the people who've just watched it on TV. Well, that also is a problem because then that means they're going to start reading into things because they saw us on TV. And then you have people who are just normal, everyday people who are actually interested and curious about it. They have to agree that they can't have any kind of bias or sympathies to any sides. They can't already have made up their mind who they are favoring more. So you ask questions. Each side gets to ask questions. The plaintiff goes first. So I would stand up, have a 2 little minute intro of what the case is kind of generally about. Maybe it's an accident, maybe it's some kind of breach of contract. And then you start going line by line, or whoever you want, asking them questions. So I might know on my sheet, number 7 is Miss Williams. Miss Williams, have you ever been in an accident before? And she gets to answer. Or I might say, Mr. Brown, I see that you're a teacher. Where do you teach? Oh, you teach 2nd grade? Okay. Do you know anybody here? Anybody of your students before? What you're trying to do is make sure that, one, nobody in the jury is going to be tied to your case whatsoever. In
What
other
does
words,
that
let's say Mr. Brown's a teacher and maybe the defendant was a student.
He'll have more emotional.
Exactly. Or somebody knows somebody who works for one of the law firms.
Oh, okay.
You get what I mean? So you need to rule out any kind of bias. And you're also really paying attention to people who, have indications of certain ways. But everything is really changed, Jordan, now that my social media stuff has taken off. It's in a way I never expected. For example, not too long ago, I had a voir dire. That's what they call the jury selection process.
Okay.
In the West Coast, they call it voir dire. Up north, down south, we call it voir dire. And so you're having voir dire of your panel, and I didn't mention anything about my social media. Well, the defense attorney did. He gets up and he asks, "Does anybody here, ever follow Mr. Fisher's, social media or anything like that?" Bunch of hands went up.
Oh, man.
And then what he had to do then was then ask people, despite you following Mr. Fisher, can you still be fair and impartial? And they'd say, and several people said, yeah, we can rest on the facts. And there was this lady who said, he said, "You still think you'd be fair and impartial?" And she said, "No, sir, I don't think I can." And he asked her, he said, "Well, why not?" She said, "Well, I just follow all his content, and he just seems so nice, and I just know if he has this case, it must be a real case." And several people nodded their head.
Oh, no.
And of course, what does that signal to him?
Right.
That this is not going to go well in his favor. And so I was totally blown away, and we settled the case, within the hour. It was
really,
yeah, because it's different. It's
he didn't want to
different.
strike them off. He didn't want to get rid of them.
No, he would strike them off. It just got to where we settled the case because they were concerned about the venue. Too many people knowing my content and knowing my stuff. And so I settle more cases than I try cases.
So that works in your favor?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's great. Yeah, but it's just something I never thought. But yeah, there's definitely things that you look at with a jury. There's a whole process that most people have no idea about.
That's really interesting. Wow. I have another quote. You said, "Cross-examination is where you don't attack the person, you attack the lie. One bad answer, and the jury smells blood. What do you do to attack the lie?"
Several things. One is you attack it by knowing the facts like you're wearing them as clothes. Like you have to know every ounce of the facts and be able to have evidence of it. So when you have to have that knowing that you have the documents. Number 2, you have to kind of walk them out on a plank. When somebody makes a lie, and if you just skip over it in trial, the jury will never see it. Mm-hmm. When somebody lying on the stand that's their credibility at issue. That means if you can catch them in a lie, and the jury can see that, then the jury will question all of the veracity of all their testimony. Because the argument is, if you can't trust their testimony here, you can't trust their testimony anywhere, especially if they're a very key witness. And so what I will typically do is you slow it down. Somebody lies, it's like you want to take that moment and draw it out like a wad of gum. All right. You want to make it so painful for that person on the stand, thinking that they were going to pull one over on you. And instead, you caught it and you go, oh, no, this is too good. And so what happens is you give them enough rope that they will hang themselves. Like they can't get out of it without admitting that they lied. And so a key technique that I do is to ask the question again, but slower, in a way as if I don't almost believe it. It's kind of like how I do with my daughter.
You do the same thing with
Sure.
people in your life. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll ask my daughter, did you brush your teeth? And she'll say, yes, sir. And I'll look at her and go, you brushed your teeth. And she will like sheepishly start to look on her face. And she'll go, yes, sir. And I'll typically give her an out. I say, Ruby, if you haven't brushed your teeth, you can tell me now and you can go do it still. And she'll go, well, let me go check. That's what she'll say. But it's like that kind of technique. So you repeat it slowly. And what happens a lot of the times is the witness will turn it into a question. They'll respond in a question or say something like, well, what you think I wouldn't do that? And turn their response into a question. And so one of the best ways to do it that I do is I have a stack of documents with me. They might be totally irrelevant to the question I'm asking, but I'll put my hand on it and say, Mr. So-and-so, you weren't at the store that day.
As though you're about to prove it.
Exactly. And by that time, they feel the heat. And they'll say, actually, no, I wasn't. Mm. And that's when you stop, slow down, and that's when you look at the jury. And that's when you go back. Thank you for telling me the truth. Mm. And then you go back into it. But it's those moments where you kind of get to connect to what they call it, the third wall.
The fourth wall.
Fourth wall or whatever. It's that. Mm. Whenever you can connect to those little moments. So like, let's say you said something where I know it's true and you said you didn't. And you just responded, no, I didn't. I might sit back and go, you didn't. You didn't. Huh. I might look at the jury. You didn't go to the store that day? And you draw it out. You make it to where they just feel
it's a performance.
Yeah, exactly. And now they feel uncomfortable. Now they're in their seat. And now they're like, well, I could have. Well, did you or did you not? I'm not sure, because if you could have, well, then I'm not really sure that's an honest answer. And, I know you want an honest answer. And that's when you get to, like, put it on.
That last part, I know you want an honest answer. That sticks out to me because people like to consider themselves honest.
Exactly.
And forthright. So it seems like you're almost giving them the opportunity to live up to the expectations that they would have of themselves.
Exactly.
Are there any specific instances in the courtroom that you can think of that you're able to share when someone was lying to you that you were able to catch it?
Yeah. So I had a case where there was this lady. I was actually on defense of this case. I was defending this mom and pop company. And their driver had caused the accident. And this lady was putting on this waterworks show about how she couldn't hold her grandkids anymore. She couldn't go on walks. Tearfully saying she couldn't, do all these things. She couldn't enjoy life. The quote she said was, I just don't feel like life's worth living. All right? And she's doing that all on what they call direct examination when her attorney's asking her questions, and I'm writing this stuff down. And we went on break the next day. During that time, I had gone on and kind of formulated how I wanted to do this. It's next morning, it's my turn. And the first thing I say was, Miss, let's say Gonzalez or something. You said something yesterday, and, it caught my attention. So much so I wrote it down because it hurt my heart so much. You said life is just not worth living anymore. You still hold by that? And yes, sir. And, she's ready to pull it on, I guess. The judge, may I approach? And I had pictures. that I had pulled from her Facebook, which was public, and I entered them as impeachment purposes. So in trial, they have something called impeachment. I can impeach you with a document to show that you were not telling the truth. Gave them to her attorney, and her attorney just like turned green.
Just clearly showing her having fun.
It was, I said, you say quote, and I pulled the testimony from her yesterday from the court reporter. So I had drafted that. I said, okay, you were asked this. Answer, I can't even hold my grandbabies. I said, click, had the slide screen. These grandbabies? The ones you're holding right here? And they were like 5 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not able to go outside. Is that what you said? Click. Now this is you on top of Mount, what is that called? And it was, her with a hiking stick,
man.
And it was right at the time she said she couldn't do anything. Now, that's not every case, but when it's that blatant, a lot of the times you have to use the evidence to show that. Now, there's a difference between if somebody's caught in a lie, you also have to keep your own credibility, because if you just beat them over the head with it, people are going to start to feel bad. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of have to do this balance of making sure that just wasn't true, wasn't.
And leave it at that.
Leave it at that. That asking the one question too far.
So at that point, when you impeached her, are you like removing her from the case or her testimony, or are you it's just making the jury aware that she's lied?
Exactly. And now we have new testimony under oath that what she said was not true. Mm. So when you said that yesterday, that wasn't completely true, was it?
How can you tell that someone's lying to you? Are there indicators, whether it's on the stand or in life, or are there indicators that someone is actively lying to you, like whether it's verbal, whether it's body language, or let's say you don't have all the facts. Let's say you don't have everything. Is there something that someone's telling you visually, verbally, audibly that's like, hey, I think you're lying to me?
One is your gut.
Okay.
Like just your instinct. And there's nothing that's ever going to replace instinct and intuition. So that one's big. When you have evidence, that's great. You don't always have that. Two would be if they tend to have a big emotional reaction. Like it's a level 2 kind of question, and they bump it up to a level 10. Mm. You ask a question about something factual. Hey, were you at Joe's house last night? And then all of a sudden you start arguing about how much she's trying to control you, how much this is, he's give me a break. I just want to have some fun. Something to where you are not, they make the conversation not about what was the conversation anymore. It's big deflection. So what would be number 2? Deflection. And a big way of trying to argue something that you're not making at all. 3 would be, like I mentioned, people turn it into a question. So I asked somebody in a deposition, you were on the phone while you were driving, and they'd say, "Was I on my phone while I was driving?" Like you know what I mean? They're
buying time.
That's exactly right. And so they are, to what is an easy answer, they find ways of buying time. Like, was I? I mean, why would you say such a thing? But you don't think I'm a good driver? You hear how like it's just continued by time of going, where can I go with the truth, because I don't want to give it out.
Let's say you're dealing with someone in real life.
Yeah.
I know you had given the example of your daughter with the teeth brushing, but let's say it's something more serious. Like, were you at Joe's house, Jack's house last night, and they start giving you this, so you have this gut instinct. Are you following the same approach of drawing it out and attacking the lie? How do you handle someone who is maybe bumping it from a 2 to a 10? How do you approach that situation?
Well, that's a lot of context specific, but I would say that one very effective way of handling that, if somebody is telling you something that you feel is off, is to say that. Say, if they bump it up, to say something feels off and leave it at that. and watch what they do. They will start to have this ratchet up in behavior. Or if you were to say, I'll come back to this later. There is nothing a liar hates more than unresolvedness. They want you to buy the lie.
Now. Yeah,
They want
it
it in a bow package, and you go, yes, I have it. They want it gone, off the plate. And if it continues to exist and string out, well, then it corrodes them. That's all they think about. Now they're much more in their head. Now it's much more anxiety because they want you to buy it immediately. And when you don't, when you go, you know what, something just doesn't feel right about, something feels off. Well, we can bring this up later. People who tell the truth go, okay, no problem. Because the truth has nowhere else to hide. I mean, you don't need an excuse for the truth. But the people who are not telling the truth will go, I mean, what do you think? You think I'm not telling the truth? What are you calling me a liar? And they pump it up. People who tell the truth are totally good with you. Take your time. Yeah, I'm happy to tell you exactly what happened. You can talk to so-and-so and so-and-so. People who are liars, they don't like things being strung out. They need it now.
Have you ever made a mistake during a cross-examination that stands out? It's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, nothing big. Well, I had a lot of experience in cross-examination in mock trial, which is like interscholastic, like you have pretend trials, both in college and in law school. Big mistake that kind of sticks out is asking the question one too many. Like, if you've already made the point and you keep asking questions on it, the jury's going to go, we got it. You've made your point. Can you continue? I've also done it to where especially with experts, when I was brand new attorney, you have these experts who've been in the game for 40 years and they know that you're green and they can sniff it. And so you might ask a question and then they just run all over you. And you just don't, unless
How?
you have...
Like what happened?
They'll continue to talk and then start explaining and then start turning and teaching to the jury, and making themselves sound more credible and more likable. And then you just become fade into nothing. You know what I mean? So you have to have a lot of good witness control is what they call that. So witness control is super key, and a lot of witness control that I've honed over time is exactly the type of tools that I teach.
What exactly is witness control? Like, what does that mean?
It is when I'm asking questions, I am not just having a conversation with you, though I'm making it sound like a conversation. I am governing the conversation. I'm telling you where we're going, telling you where you're going to go, and telling you how to get there. So I might give us a roadmap and say, okay, I want to talk about what happened, what led up to the fire. Sound good? And you're going to go, okay. And then I'm going to start using statements. And I'm going to use statements that are close-ended rather than open-ended. An open-ended question would be, did you go to the store that day? They could say yes, no, maybe. Or it could say, who did you go to the store with? Or you can have a question like, do you enjoy football? Whatever it is. The questions where they have other ways to go. A statement question, a closing question, only leaves room for a yes or a no. An opening question might be, how did you get to the store? And you get to explain. A closing question would be, you went to the store? Now you hear it's a statement, but I make it sound like a question, as if I already know the answer.
And so you're governing that conversation down where you want it to go.
Right. And what happens is I might say, let's say the question is, I might say, you went to the store that day? And you go, yeah, I went to the store, but after I went to the store, I went and got some gas. What'd I do? I went and, there was this 7-iron I was really looking at, and I wanted to go try that out. They start explaining things, and that's information that they know they're purposely putting in that's irrelevant to your question.
And do you cut them off? Like, that's good.
No. is there like a very intentional technique to that? Bad attorneys will go, that's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Juries don't like that. They don't like you cutting them off. At the same time, they'll punish the witness for continuing to run on and run on and run on. So instead what you do is you just re-ask the question slower. So I might say, you went to the store that day? And you go, yeah, I went to the store, but after I got the eggs, I saw this sale over at JCPenney's and I was thinking of this. And you kind of run on. I might then go, you went to the store that day. And now you've already given a long explanation, so you can't use it again. Mm-hmm. So you go, yeah. And then it's like, I have to remind you, you're answering my questions. Appreciate that. And then what happens is they kind of catch the drift that it's only they're not going to be able to go anywhere else.
They're more brief going forward.
Yeah, it's witness control. Or I might say, now I hear that really long response. What I asked you was really straightforward. You went to the store. And we both know you did, didn't you? Like that. And they go, yeah. You continue to kind of narrow the chance for them to say anything.
Got it. You said the greater relationship you want to have with someone, the greater tolerance you must have for difficult conversation. I love this, by the way. I thought it's so important all the time, but especially right now. How do you deal with a close friend or family member who keeps shutting down difficult conversations?
Oh, somebody who continues just to avoid them, deflect them?
Yeah, like you're trying to have a difficult conversation. Maybe it could be about anything. It could be about the way that you're being treated. It could be about politics. It could be about anything that maybe makes them uncomfortable. Maybe they know you have a disagreement on. Mm-hmm. And any time it comes up, they're just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. They just keep shutting you down. Mm-hmm. How do you approach that?
Well, one would be, why are you being insistent on it? I guess is one.
I love that answer.
So that's because that has to be that runs through the filter of, is it something that I need? Am I the one to ask? And is this the right time? It's sometimes I'm not the right person to ask this difficult thing of them. And sometimes that's not for me to know, even if they are close. So I would say that's the first filter. But if it's something that's incredibly important, then two, I would say you need to begin with, I'm telling you this because I want to talk with you this because. Most people get into conversation. And what I say is they wait until they're talking to figure out what they want to say. Mm. And so when you start with the goal and giving them the because, then people know where it's headed. So let's say you and I have to talk about something that's really important to me and important for our friendship. I might say, Jordan, I want to talk about this with you because you matter a great deal to me and I want to be a friend for as long as we live. Can I talk about something with you that's really important in my heart? But you see how I've already addressed several major things. One is we're still going to be friends. Two, this is something that matters to me because you're my friend. Mm. So you're not like everybody else.
That word because, so I started making content in 2011. And when I started getting more into trying to understand human behavior mm-hmm. and not only why people make the decisions they make, but more around human to human dynamics and how you can get your point across, that word because became unbelievably important. Actually, I remember there was a study once. I don't remember the authors of it or any of that, but it was a really interesting study. There were a group of people, and they wanted to see people's reactions based on if you just asked them something versus asked them with a because statement. Mm-hmm. And so they had people that were in a line to do like Xeroxes to make copies. And they would have someone approach them and say, hey, would you mind if I cut in front of you? And that was all they asked. And then they had other times they would go up and say, would you mind if I cut in front of you because I'm in a rush? Everyone's in a rush. Everyone's got to go. Mm-hmm. But when they added the because, the likelihood of people saying, yeah, go ahead of me was, I don't remember the percentage, statistically significant to an unbelievable degree. Mm-hmm. And so when you're talking now about adding that because in, I feel like it's a wonderful tool in everyday speech. Like, make sure they know why you want to have this conversation. And it could be as simple as, because I love you.
Right.
That might be enough to be like, okay, we got to have this conversation.
Spot on. A lot of the times people just don't understand the shared purpose. I mean, it's if somebody were to say, can I have some money? And you go, why? But if it's, hey, can I have some money? I lost my wallet and I'm trying to do this, something specific. Mm-hmm. The more you can show your work for people, the more comfortable they feel. And the more difficult the conversation, the more you need to make people feel more comfortable and that they have the shared purpose of the conversation. So, yeah, the deeper relationship you want to have with somebody, the greater tolerance you must have for difficult conversation, because there are people that will absolutely shut you off in a way that you're not going to be able to continue in that relationship. And sometimes that's okay. Like realizing they're not going to go there with you. You can't force them to go there with you. But you think of the people that you have the greatest relationship now, most likely they're the people that you've had the most difficult conversations with, the hardest ones, the people that have been in battle with you, the people that have gone to war with you to really day in, day out understand your struggle. Those are the people you're going to relate to and bond with the most.
Another thing you said in the approach, you're like, because I love you, I want to be friends with you my whole life. Many people, when they start adding the because, they'll make it about them because it's important to me.
Right.
Which, in an ideal world, great. If you have someone who's close to you, they'll care about it because it's important to you. But in a realistic world, most people are concerned with themselves. Mm-hmm. So if you can make it in a way that is at least in a shared capacity, like because I love you and I want to be friends with you forever, I do feel like that can often lead to, okay, then in that case, let's sit down and do this, as opposed to just because, or just because this is important to me. I think oftentimes including them in the why can be helpful for that.
Yeah, and it's a good filter for ourselves, of why am I bringing this up? Why must they agree with me politically? Why must they have the same views I have? That's where the learning mentality comes into place. When you, instead of I need you to take what I said and swallow it hook, line, and sinker, versus help me understand how you feel about this, or can you teach me more on how you interpret that, finding ways to actually learn why they believe what they believe. When did you first come to believe this? How long have you always thought that? Where did you learn this from? Like, the more you become the student, naturally, the more open they become.
That's one of the things I love about you and your style of communication is you're so good at asking questions. It's always about learning. And one of my favorite phrases that you use all the time is, help me understand.
Yeah.
Help me understand or teach me about this, or even a question like, how long have you believed that? I feel like many people, they wouldn't even consider asking it. I feel like many people, they have an idea of what a problem is, and I want to get to the solution, which is often, you should believe what I believe.
Yes, that's
the solution is, you should believe what I believe.
Exactly.
As opposed to, as you've just said, learning about why they believe what they believe. And I see this with fitness. I'm a personal trainer, and I see people being like, hey, here's your problem, here's how you fix it. But they aren't interested in learning why they have the behaviors they have. Why? Everyone knows apple versus donut. Everyone knows what's healthy, but why aren't people choosing the apple over the donut? It's not as simple as, well, the donut tastes better. It's not that simple. And for you I just love the way that you practically teach people that little phrase, help me understand, teach me this. How long have you believed this? Because that's what gets the conversation going. And back to whether it's witness control, whether it's understanding the potential jury members, you're developing a relationship with them. And the more you can develop the relationship, then the deeper you can go. But expecting to go from A to Z before you have anything in between, it's not going to develop a relationship that builds trust.
No, it'll do the opposite. What I like to say is, when you want to change somebody's mind about something, when you want to change somebody's mind and you want to tell them that they're wrong, most of the time you're not telling them that they're wrong. Let's say it's something that's religious or political, some big hot button issue. I'm not just saying you're wrong. I could be saying your dad's wrong. I could be saying your grandmother's wrong. I could be saying that experience you had when you were 11 was all wrong, because you've tied that to your identity. And so I'm not just saying you're wrong on this topic. I'm saying everything about you is now wrong. These things that they've believed in, people that have only grown up in one political ideology, only one religious ideology, it doesn't matter. It's become their identity. So that's why a lot of the times facts don't matter. Evidence doesn't matter. You've had those conversations with people and you're like, look at the evidence here. They don't care. Why? Because you're threatening their whole identity, and they will go to the ends of the earth to protect that. So the more you tell them that they're wrong, the more convinced they are that they're right, because they have to be. And so when you can ask the questions that open them up, that's when you get to learn more, and then that's where your opportunity is for growth between the two of you. That help me understand, what am I missing? What's some of the biggest misconceptions you've heard people make about that? Different ways of asking questions that they're not used to, rather than, well, why do you believe that? You know what I mean? Beginning with why is so defensive. It's a why is very accusatory. If I were to ask you, well, why'd you do that? What do you think? You think, because I wanted to. That's why. Well, who are you to question me? So anytime you do well, why do you think that way? Why'd you do it like this? People get very defensive.
As you've said, lead with curiosity, but genuine curiosity. Really learn, not accuse, and not just have we haven't finished until you believe what I believe.
Right.
What do you recommend to people who know they need to get better about having difficult conversations, but they struggle to not get overly upset when someone is disagreeing with them?
It would be to go easy on yourself. Most people feel like decisions have to be made in one conversation. Minds have to be made in one conversation. People have to change their whole ethos in one conversation. And that's just not the truth. There have to be multiple conversations. Imagine there's something you and I have to talk about that's big, this big elephant in the room. And you and I sit down, okay, let's get it all out right now. Let's talk about it. Now, how much do you really want to? We're still going to be guarded. But if I come and say, look, I know and you know that we have to talk about something that's not going to be all that fun, and I'm willing to get it started and know that this is a conversation that's going to last weeks, and I'm going to be here for it. You see how just saying that all of a sudden releases like the pressure valve? I'm going to say, well, it'll take as long as it'll take. I've done it with employees to say, this is a conversation that's going to last the next month.
I love that.
And all of a sudden you've made room for mistakes. You've made room for thoughts. You've made room for learning. It's not we're going to have to solve this in about 34 minutes before, I go out and grab some Cane's chicken. So like you have to find ways to release the pressure valve in conversations. You do that by widening the time that the conversation has to occur. When you force people to have conversations on your time frame, things go south. And then same on their time frame. If you've ever had anybody go, no, we need to talk about this now. Does that ever make you want to talk about it more?
Never.
No, they feel more cornered. They always feel more cornered. So when you're able to realize that you're in complete control of the time frame of conversations, how long they happen, and what you want to say, and if you say anything at all.
I like also how you initiated a difficult conversation by saying, this isn't going to be fun.
Yeah.
Because I've found that if it's not going to be fun, it is going to be difficult. If you just start with the difficult, it's almost like getting punched in the gut. But if you start by letting them know, hey, this is going to be really difficult, it almost like allows them to brace for impact a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then often it isn't even as bad as they think it's going to be. And it might be, but by giving them that, hey, this isn't going to be fun. Mm-hmm. okay. And then you get into it. It's like, all right, this really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to go. So by giving them the opportunity to brace before you get into it, I found is super helpful. And I like that you included that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you allow them the chance to be emotionally resilient, to have that little moment to, okay, kind of nod, and I'm ready. When you get to say things like, hey, this is going to be a difficult conversation. This is going to be hard to talk about. And you give them a little preview rather than starting with the fluff, the how are you? How are things?
Yeah.
They're not going to believe that. And if you go straight to the hardcore stuff, they're going to feel like, oh, that was a little too, brash. That was a little too curt. They're not going to like that.
I hate when people do small talk before a tough conversation. It's so annoying. Hey, how are you? And then
Right.
you're going to break up with them or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why are you asking how I am? Like, we know this is going to go a really bad place.
That's exactly right. The people that are like, oh yeah, have you seen the weather? Oh my God, it's crazy, right? Let's say crazy to things that aren't crazy.
Yes.
Have you seen pickleball? It's like tennis, but not tennis. Isn't that crazy? You're like, what's going on? And then they say, so listen, and then they go into it. That's
Crazy is what people say either when they don't know what else to say or oftentimes at the end of a conversation when they're done. So you'd be like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, you're ready to get out, but
Yeah.
they don't realize it. So whatever they keep telling you, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
good.
wild.
You're just like-
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy. That's interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Let's say you're angry, all right, and you're justified in being angry.
Mm-hmm.
How can you communicate that you're upset without triggering a defensive response from the person you're speaking to?
Say it out loud. I teach when you claim it, you control it. It's much more efficient and helpful. Rather than acting on anger, to speak to that anger. So that rather than me yelling at you of all the terrible things you've done, I'm going to be saying, I am angry. It upsets me that I have seen this and I have felt this, and when you have said this. When I hear that, it makes me want to yell. Can you hear that versus me expressing all of that emotion to you, yelling in your face? Now, I'm not going to say that there's not a time and place for yelling. I think that is probably therapeutic, to actually get all of that pent out energy out of you. But it's when you do it in a way that's going to be detrimental to the other person in the relationship in a way that you don't want.
And I would imagine that, generally speaking, it's more impactful when you say it calm versus when you elevate your voice or your body language to give the, like, you're trying to intimidate the other person or have no control over your emotions and your body, that it doesn't actually lead to a resolution. It leads to, let me just get out of this situation right now. So I'll say whatever you want me to say. I'll believe whatever you want me to believe now so that I'm not in danger. But then it doesn't actually lead to a change. Whereas when you say it calmly, like, I'm really upset. Like, this is not what I wanted to happen. And I think we need to discuss it. I feel like that it's like, okay, I fucked up and I'm also willing to accept this conversation.
I think there is a lot of truth to that. And I think and I'm not trying to say at all that you have to be like pleasant of like, I'm really upset right now. That's not authentic. That's not authentic. And you can certainly express anger. It's just not, I find that when you say out loud that I am angry and that I am upset and that I'm hurting, you're going to find a more useful way to use your emotions in a way to continue to get it out and work through it rather than bottle it up. Because we all know, my dad didn't yell much, but when he was upset and he was disappointed, I'd rather him yell at me. You know what I mean? If my dad was just disappointed, ooh, please yell at me. This is worse. So that alone is some proof that it doesn't require yelling to get across the feeling of anger.
Let's say your child is being bullied at school, but the teachers don't seem to be taking it seriously. What would you say to get the teachers to react appropriately?
Oh, I would for sure call a meeting, and I would make it very clear that if it's not being taken seriously, then I'm not going to that school. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to get my kids in some type of safe environment, especially if the teachers aren't doing their jobs. Like, as a parent, I'm limited. I can't go on the school. I can't go at the playground. The teachers are there. The principal's there. The director's there. If they don't take it seriously, then that's a much more bigger problem that goes into, okay, you need to make some decisions that's going to be for the best welfare of your child. Now, I can give my son or my daughter things that I want them to say. I want them to update me on conversations that are being had. But if I need to have the conversation with the teachers, and let's say that they're willing to listen, then I need to iterate to them that this is my highest priority in life right now. And your attention to this can make the difference in the entire trajectory of my child. How they think about themselves, what they think of other people, how much they trust themselves, and how much they trust other people. You have that ability. I've given you that ability by entrusting my child here with you as their teacher, as their principal, and here at this school. Do I have your attention? So, like, putting the scope of it in place. I'm not just here to talk about how my kid is upset because some other boy commented on, I don't know, his shoes or something. And I can talk with him about how to interpret those feelings. And you know what? It's okay. You're not for everybody. I think those shoes are awesome. Do you like them? Great. Then who cares? Every kid has to learn that they have to have some uniqueness. But if it's something that's physical, if it's something that's mentally abusive, then I will do anything, that would allow that for them to be safe.
My favorite part of that, I actually think is genius, is you gave a comparison to something that's innocuous. I don't care if a kid makes fun of his shoes. I can take care of that. But my child's physical and mental well-being is at risk because of this. And you've essentially created a spectrum of, if it was this, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
But I'm here because it's this. Almost like this is very severe. And I think that can be helpful for teachers who are busy. They've got loads of students. They've got so much on their plate. I get it. But this is an elevated situation. It's not this. It's pointing to something that I wouldn't care about. It's this, which I would imagine might help them understand, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to take this a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, you're creating a disparity. So you're making a big level contrast between what could be considered innocuous to something that is the highest priority. The mental stability of this human forever. Big disparity.
I like
right?
that.
And so what I'm doing is creating a call to action. This is your chance right now to step in and do the very thing you came to do in the role that you chose. Did you choose to come and make a difference in a child's life? Here's your chance.
If your kid was being bullied, would you talk to the bully's parents? And how would you approach the conversation to get them to take action so their kid stops bullying yours?
Depends on the context, right? But let's say for this hypothetical, it requires that. It would require me to talk to the parents. Let's say I don't know the parents. Like, if I already knew the parents and we're friends.
Yeah.
Easy. There's just, kids are always going to go through miscommunication. Somebody didn't get included. It wasn't intentional, whatever. Lots of different things. But let's say this kid is definitely bullying and I'm going to talk to the parents. Absolutely, I'll talk to their parents. Not a problem. The biggest key that I'm going to be doing at that outset is to make sure they're not going on the defensive. So how do you make sure somebody's not going on the defensive? You are outlining already your thought processes for them. You're not trying to assume their intentions. You're not trying to assume that they're going to protect their child, that they want their child to be a bully, and they're going to double down and not listen to you. So if I come in and go, hey, your kid, what do you think they're going to do?
Fuck you.
They're just going to clam up. My kid, your kid. So you can't do that. If I were to come to say, hey, I know good and well you care a lot about how you're raising your son, and in no world would you ever want him to be a bully. Same for mine. I would never want them. And I know that if somebody were to come to me, about my child's behavior, I would want to know. So I'm going to let you know what my kid's telling me. Is that all right? Like, once you put yourself in their shoes, like, I'm telling you this because I would want to know if my kid was doing this. I don't know for sure. This is just what my kids told me, and kids are going to be kids, but just so you're aware, this is what's happening. And I don't see any way that a parent would not be receptive to that. Now, I do know, though, for example, my wife is a education attorney. There are parents that...
An education attorney?
Yes, education attorney. There are parents that they don't care if they've seen the video of their child bullying. Their kid can do no wrong, and it's everybody else's fault, and it's everything like that. You can't help those humans, and you can't help in that situation. The best thing you can do is use the school to help. Make sure your kid has the ability, I think, to me, to both protect themselves physically and verbally, to be able to guard themselves, and their mind.
Do you have your kids in jiu-jitsu?
My son is, yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he loves it.
Is your daughter going to start?
Yeah, but she will eventually. But she holds her own already with her little brother. Yeah.
Do you do it?
No, I don't.
Not yet?
No,
Yet? I know you. Yet is an
I do
important
like the word yet, but yeah. No, I mean, I've never had to come to blows, thankfully. But I do love wrestling with my kids. That's about as far as it goes.
I was going to save this for later, but what's your workout? What's your fitness routine like? Are you training?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you're catching me. I haven't gone in the last week. I was in Miami and Nashville.
You look great, dude.
Thank you. Hey, thanks.
So the glance down at your arms,
I know.
like, they're usually bigger.
I was like, oh, dang, I haven't worked out in about a week. But yeah, no, so I was at a gym consistently. I've always kept up with fitness since I was in college. I use a tonal.
Oh,
you
cool.
ever heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
I'm a big tonal fan. And
is it in your house?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I have a little building beside the house that's really like a big barn that we turned into some rooms, where I have a little studio and a gym. And so I love it. And one of the lead instructors, his name's Joe Rodonis. Shout out, Joe, if you see this. He came to my book signing in New York, and it was so great to connect with him.
Did he know that you do his workouts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
That's how that came to happen, through social media and networking, and another guy named Bob Simon, who's fantastic. And anyway, so I love the tonal. I'm a huge fan of it, and we have a Peloton, of course. Typical Peloton. You use it, and then you don't use it for a while, and then you use it a little bit, and you don't use it for a while. But no, very much big. My wife is very much on she has a workout. She loves her gym that she has, and I think that gym does stuff through, if you've heard of a guy named Marcus Philly. That
I have heard.
Yeah,
that
so he has some programming they do at that gym that they follow, and she loves it. And so it's been. We're very big on fitness at the Fisher household.
I love that. Were you an athlete growing up?
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't do college.
Yeah.
But I did football and did baseball and did basketball and golf and tennis.
And is your training more strength-based, cardio-based?
Strength-based.
More strength, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can do cardio. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine I saw in Nashville who he's about to do a marathon, and I'm like, I just can't get there in my mind yet. I can't get my mind there yet. But yeah, I love I'll put a audiobook on or some music on, and I really like strength training. That's my favorite.
What are some of your favorite exercises?
I'm a dude. Of course, it's going to be like bench press, triceps, abs. Hate legs. Still hate them. I mean, I do them. I do.
You do deadlifts and stuff on the tonal?
I do, yeah. I do all the deadlifts. I do the, what's those ones I hate? What do you call them?
Bulgarian
split squats? Oh, yeah.
Those
can go die. I hate those. I hate those. But once you start doing them, then you get good at them.
Yeah.
Then you're good. Like lunges, hate lunges.
Brutal.
I don't understand why that is.
Why they're so hard?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could tell. I'm just saying I don't like them, but I definitely I've always been, especially upper body. I've always been fit and felt good there.
The tough part or the worst part about a lunge or a Bulgarian split squat is you got to do both sides.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. Like you're done with one set on one leg and you're like, fuck, I got to do it again.
And you have to do the other.
Yeah.
Same for lunges. It's like,
it's terrible.
no, I don't, at squat, I don't mind, aside from if I haven't done it in a while and you do it and then you're like, am I going to throw up? I don't know. Like, yeah, this like nauseous feeling of like, oh, why do I feel terrible? That can't be good for me. And then sometimes I'm like, what am I doing it for? Not like I'm going to go be Mr.
Yeah. Just for
Olympia.
health.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, carry my kids.
Do your kids watch you work out?
Yeah. Yes. So that's one thing I do love in my gym is that we have this little area that they can work out with me on the tunnel sometimes because they want to like do the motion. Or we have a little place for like kids yoga.
Oh,
so
nice.
they'll do yoga off to the side while I'm in the gym doing the tonal.
I love that.
And so they'll be like this, they like these certain YouTube channels and I'll let them only watch like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And they'll do them while I'm getting a workout in.
You probably don't know. I have an entire YouTube channel for kids workouts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
All right, yeah, let me know.
It's workouts for kids with Coach Jay. It's just like,
nice.
It's free workouts for kids and it's strength based.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll send you that. See if they can do that while you work out.
Yeah, please let me know.
But I like doing that with my daughters, especially my 3-year-old. Like, rather than like keeping her inside, like come to the gym with us. And work out with us so that she can make it. For me, and I've said this before, nostalgia is a really powerful emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I want my kids to have nostalgia with working out so that many people view exercise as it's a punishment. They grew up, they do it only to, if they ate something bad, now I have to work out.
Right.
It's always a negative connotation.
Yeah.
I don't like how I look, so now I have to work out.
Right.
I want my kids to be like, I get to work out and think about all the amazing times I had with my mom and dad.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a great emotional anchor to have with fitness.
Yeah, I definitely want my kids to have memories of mom and dad working out.
Yeah.
Like that is the goal, so that they can have positive memories about that. I think that's spot on.
So going back to your expertise, how can you effectively communicate with someone who's actively trying to gaslight you?
What I say is you have to keep your feet planted. By that I mean when people are gaslighting you, they are trying to get you to look anywhere else but the truth. And so somebody might go, well, what's the difference between gaslighting and lying, Jefferson? Lying is, did you go to the store? No, when I did. Gaslighting is, what are you talking about? Did you not hear did you see your face when we were at dinner? Everybody thought you were mad at them. No, everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I start to make you question others' perceptions of you. I'm making you question your own reality of, am I if you start
crazy?
If you start thinking, am I nuts? Am I crazy? Something's wrong? That's it. And so when somebody's doing that to you, it's like the gaslighter has a shovel and they're digging a hole and you have the desire to go fill it. Like and then they make another hole and then you feel like you have to continue to fill it. And then by the fact that you're having to fill the hole, you're starting to doubt whether or not you're even sane. It's like, or another way to think of it is you have a laser pointer and you're a cat. You're just going, from one place to another. I always keep you going. Because I am not wanting you to focus on what the truth is. So when somebody is gaslighting you in that way, what I encourage people to say is, I remember things differently. And keep it at that. Somebody tried to bring something else. I remember things differently. I remember things differently. It sounds simple. The more you use it, the more powerful it sounds. Because they are going to continue to try and push. They're not going to say, okay, fine, remember it differently. They won't be able to live with that. They want to continue to push. If you've ever had somebody try and, like in an argument, replay a timeline for you in a way that didn't sound right, If they're like, okay, you remember at dinner, you said this, and then I said this, and then they start trying to concoct a narrative that you're like, I don't think that's how that happened. You just have to put down the shovel. I remember things differently, and be okay with there being holes.
So not trying to correct it and be like, no, that's not what happened. Just be like, oh, I remember it differently.
Yep. That's
Next.
it. Exactly. Just letting it go.
A lot of, I feel like, what you teach is not only communication tactics, but acceptance tactics. Like, even if they disagree, even if they remember things differently, it's not always worth it to get into this argument because it's going to go nowhere. So just the simple, I remember things differently. What's for lunch?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, that's it. There's no need to go down this rabbit hole if we know it's not going to end in a reconciliation. Exactly.
And the people who are gaslighting you don't want reconciliation. That's not going to happen. That is a tactic that is to make you avert your eyes to what's truly happening. It's a manipulation tactic. It's a control tactic. And so when you realize that you're keeping your feet planted, I remember things differently. That's you choosing not to go chase the laser pointer. You're just staying exactly where you are.
And what strategies would you use if you're in an argument with a narcissist?
You have to understand the game that you're in with a narcissist, and realize that everybody, me, you, anybody watching, listening, we all have what you could call narcissistic traits or behaviors. We all do things that aren't the best. That term has continually gotten broader and continually been a catch-all for anybody we really don't like. You know?
Yep.
I've never heard somebody categorize their ex-spouse as anything other than a narcissist.
That's the truth.
Yeah, and whoever the narcissist is, it's not me, it's them. You know what I mean? It's whoever they are. That's on them. It's not me. And how do you deal with that? You understand that you're in a game. It's a game that I call praise or provoke. Meaning, let's say you're the narcissistic type, you have tendencies that way. There's really two modes that I'm in with you. I either have to shower you with praise and say how great you are, and just, oh my gosh, you have the most amazing, your thoughts are incredible. And if I'm not giving you enough praise, well, then what typically happens is you'll turn to provoke and kind of create an argument with me. And then you find satisfaction in my reaction and making me frustrated. You find pleasure in my pain almost as much as you do in the praise, because it's still control one way or another. And the key is just not to play the game. One technique that I like to use with experts, I get a lot of experts on the stand that are more narcissistic tendencies because they know themselves to be very educated and very, they know all the things and talk down to you in a way. For narcissists, their image is everything. So you have to use words that's going to get their image pulled in. So I might say to them in a deposition, and you think the jury would find that answer satisfying? And they might twist it. And I say, you think other people will agree with you? As soon as I say other people or the jury or others, I'm not sure if that's a good look. That kind of thing is they will start to think about what it looks like for the other people, because there's really not much you can do aside from choosing not to play the game with these people, understanding what game you're in, and then just not wasting your time.
You recently said, stop being nice at the expense of being real.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
A lot of the times people find or think that nice and kind are the same thing. They're not. They're very different. Nice is surface level. Nice is what looks nice, sounds nice. You got a nice pair of shoes on. You sound nice. You look nice today. Oh, that was a very nice thing to do. Nice is politeness. It has to do with social norms, so to speak. Versus kindness, that word has to do with kin, of connection, of family. It's deep. It's not surface like nice. So nice might say, I don't want to say this to you because it's not nice. You're going to not like me. And it's not a nice thing to say. Kindness says, I care about you enough to say this. Kindness says, I care about the connection. Nice says, I care about the appearance. And so when you realize that you are just somebody who's trying to be nice at everything at the expense of being real, I just, hey, of course I'll do this when that's the last thing you need on your plate. Oh, yeah, no, that's totally fine. No, I'll take care of it. And you're just trying to be nice and appease and people please. Versus the kinder thing might be, hey, I'm going to level with you. I do not have the time to do it. And I don't want to try and make it sound nice.
As you know, I'm a personal trainer, and many people ask me how to encourage a friend or a loved one to start taking better care of their health. And I was thinking about this in relation to the niceness versus kindness conversation. Mm. How would you do this in a way that is kind and encouraging, but not ignoring the very real issue of their health?
So we can use this in a way to kind of bring in a lot of what we've already talked about. So at the outset, I would say, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my heart. And I'm telling you this because I love you and I want you to live a very long time. I am concerned about your health. And I'm concerned because I care about you. I'm concerned because I want you to be around. I care because I want you to be able to see your grandkids forever, for as long as you can be. And you know what? I care because I'm selfish of my time with you. Mm. And I think that is a wonderful gateway, instead of just saying, hey, can you just lay off the Oreos kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Though I do love Oreos. They're out. Amazing. Shout out Double Stuff. But I think it's, when you come at it that way of you have to bring up the deeper issues. It's not just you want them to lose weight. That's a side issue. Or you have better cardiovascular health. That's a side issue. What are you really wanting? You're wanting more time with them. You're wanting more time with them, with others. You're wanting, ultimately it's, you want them to last longer, live longer. I think when you start there, I think that's a great way to open that discussion.
This is a real come full circle question and answer, because we could even go back to something else that you encouraged and suggested, which is, this might be a conversation that lasts months, for example.
Yeah.
Like this conversation, this health goal, this endeavor, this is for life. This is never going to end.
Yeah.
And so maybe even circling that into, like, I'm saying this because I want more time with you. I want you to have time with your grandkids because I'm selfish. And I don't expect everything to change today.
Right.
I want to be here with you and be a part of this process forever.
Right.
And slowly over time building up more and more and more.
Right. And I think let's add in some more, right? And rather than the why don't you work out? Mm-hmm. Why don't you do this? You know what you're going to get. Well, I'm just so busy. They're going to hear the why. They're going to feel defensive, and they're going to give you excuses. And that has to do with time. And so instead of, like we talked about, opening them up, have you thought about your health before? Have you ever wanted to work out? Did you ever work out in the past? Like, is that something that you have considered or thought about? Do you feel like health's important to you? Like, when you start asking those kind of like questions that can open up their book, so to speak. And it might be that you actually learn, you know what? They tried once, they got embarrassed, and they never wanted to go again.
And the cool part about this opening them up is it does, I think many people will hear it and be like, okay, cool. So I open them up with one question and then they go into, all right, well, here's the solution. I feel like it's a process of, so that, have you thought about doing this before? Have you tried it before? Yeah, I've tried it, but there was someone who was mean to me at the gym, so I don't go anymore. Right. It's like, what did they say? Talking like, why did that push you away from the gym? Oh, wow. Like, I'm really sorry you went through that. Is there another type of training that you want to try? Do you want to try a different gym or a different place, a different coach? the process of opening them up, I feel like it's just one little bit at a time. And the more you can get to know them and the more they can express, the more they'll trust you and the more they'll be like, okay, maybe this is something. And then also lowering the barrier as opposed to being like, it doesn't have to be 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. Doesn't have to start. What if I walked with you? What if we walked together? I'm selfish. I want more time with you.
Right.
Can we go on a walk 3 days a week? I would love that. I feel like these are all simple ways to get them more involved in building confidence in themselves.
And what you said was something that I call like a bobber in the conversation.
Bobber?
Yeah, conversation. Yeah, like you're fishing. It's like this. You go, what would you say if? So I'm casting it aside. What would you say? So it would be like, what would you say if I could go with you? What would you say if I were to help you? What would you say if I covered your gym for the next 3 months? And so you're not committing to it. You're saying, what would you say if?
It's genius.
So I
love that.
It allows you for them to answer without feeling like they're committing to it.
That's genius.
Yeah.
That's great because it gives them actually a lot of security to know that I still have the choice, but also it's letting them know that you're there. Like, what would you say if I did it with you? What would you say if I was going to help you?
Right.
That's genius. I love that. Listen, I only have 2 more questions.
All right.
And these are no more of the prying or anything else. These are simple questions, but just want to get to know you a little bit better. What are you scared of?
Well, practically heights. Terrified of heights.
Are you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I hate heights. I hate other people in situations in heights. Like it's
just watching
worst.
it. You're like, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh. Like there's nothing worse I hate than a hotel balcony. Like you will absolutely not. I forbid my kids to go on them. I'm not kidding. Absolutely not. Terrifies me. So I'm not a heights fan whatsoever.
Did something happen, or it's just always?
No, I just something about heights is
Nope.
It's not for me.
Okay,
Not for me. I could easily go back to my kids. And what scares me is if there was ever a time that I found my way back to an older me that was not checked in as a husband, not checked in as a dad, not fully present, to just be there, but not be there. And you know this as a content creator, it's so easy to be present and not be present. And especially with kids, and to think of how can this best serve me? How can I focus on content versus creating the real content at home? You know, that kind of stuff scares me if I were ever to lose sight of that.
What are you excited about?
Excited? Oh, well, practically, I'm excited because I think I have some new shoes coming in the mail today, so I'm excited to get
Dude,
those.
I like these. I like the...
Thank you. These are classics.
Yeah.
I'm getting some new, my Brooks. My Brooks are...
oh, nice.
I've worn them out, just getting some new Brooks. I'm the type that I'll get the same pair of shoes, just newer. I don't have to look for other shoes. I just ordered the same shoe. So people are like, "Did you get new shoes?" I'm like, "No, it's just the same thing." Yeah. What else excites me is right now I'm at a stage where I'm kind of reshuffling the social media business of things.
Okay.
And my wife Sierra's now coming in.
Oh, very cool.
And she's a amazing full-time attorney and is transitioning out of her law practice to come.
Oh, very cool.
And so that just makes life so much easier and better and just makes me super excited.
Is that like you're doing it together?
I mean, she'll be working, her whole background is systems. Like she's, as spouses typically go, she's the opposite of me, where I'm like the creative, artsy, let me work in the clouds. She's all spreadsheet,
Oh, really?
You know, get very, very efficient, very logical. Yeah, that is her.
So she'll be helping out with the back
Yeah,
end stuff?
the background of
Got
things.
it. Okay. I
so
thought you were
that
going to bring her into the content.
No.
So, okay.
I mean, maybe one day, but I am very hesitant about. I have to be very mindful of the people online, with more power to them, who add in their family, because then it goes through a different filter of how does my family look? How does my marriage look? Now I'm critiquing how they look. I wish my kid had done something different. Like I don't ever want to enter.
I love that.
That world.
Smart.
So I make content with me and my phone alone in the car for 30 seconds. Like that's my max.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Where can people find you?
Don't make it too hard. They can go to jeffersonfisher.com. They can find me on Instagram or social media, wherever they like to listen. And I have the Jefferson Fisher podcast. I have my book, The Next Conversation, on Amazon and anywhere else you could buy a book. Yeah.
I'll put all those links in the show notes, man. Thanks you so much for coming on.
Dude, thanks for the time. It's great to see you again.
It was wonderful to see you, man.
Really, really proud of all that you're building. And yeah, you as a dad with your 3-year-old and 1-year-old, that's awesome, man. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, number one, please make sure you follow Jefferson, get his book, go to his website. All the links are in the show notes. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Wherever you're listening or watching, please leave a review. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon.